What is up, y'all? Gideon XL here with a special guest. My brother, please introduce yourself.
Hello, Gideon. My name is Mongooli. I was about to say Dan, but I guess that works too. Dan in real life, Mongooli on the internet.
Awesome. So we know that Mongolli is a content creator. He's got, I know you're on YouTube and on Twitch. Can you be found anywhere else?
I mean, technically, yes, but those are the only places that I really broadcast to. I mean, I technically am on Facebook, Instagram, and Kick, but don't expect a lot of updates in any one of those locations. I guess we're on Twitter as well, but like, not really. Twitch and YouTube are the two main ones where you can find me.
Solid. I got a couple of your credentials that I found here and there. So again, I think they just echo what you just said. Twitch, YouTube, got Discord, and all that can be found, I believe, connected to your Twitch account. So
Yeah,
Ron Watson in the house.
If you can find me on Twitch, you should be able to find me everywhere. Same with YouTube. You find one of my videos on YouTube, check the comments. It'll have my Discord. It'll have my Twitch, all that good stuff. So you should be able to find me pretty easily.
Outstanding. We got Ron Watson in the house. What's up, brother? Good to see you.
Ron.
And Double O Player. He's been around for a minute. It's a good dude right there.
Nice.
Family man. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. So, Mongooli, how's the day going for you?
So far, today's going very well. We had a very long day yesterday with a couple of different videos that were coming out, and I was working at the time. It's always a little stressful when I have to schedule a video ahead of time that has embargoed information. There's always that feeling of like, oh, I hope I set the timing right. I hope it doesn't come out before it's supposed to. I hope they don't change something, which unfortunately they did. Very minor, but they changed something before my video came out. Little things like that are a little stressful, but it was a long day at work. I went over to a friend's house and played some Star Wars for a little bit, came home, made a video at midnight, and then finally got to bed. So today is relaxed. I'm a day off work. I got a 4-day weekend, and we're just chilling and hanging out. So it's good.
Good.
I saw your eyes light up when I said that I see a little Mandalorian behind your head there.
Hey, man, my son bought me that, bro. I can't even imagine. I don't even where I am. I'm mirrored here. Where am I?
Oh, it's always weird, right?
My son bought me that. I bought. Where'd he go? Well, I got like he's up at the top. I'm connected. I got like a little plastic one they had kind of on sale at the store on closeout. I was like, oh, this will be dope. But then like he got me that one, man. I'm like, dude, that's pretty legit.
That's awesome.
I can't be mad. Oh man. So yeah, man, let's get into all that stuff. Let's get into all that. Let's
shoot. What do you want to talk about?
Well, we started a little bit.
Yeah.
But kind of who are you? What are you about?
Who is Mongooli? Great question. Mongooli is, as far as I can tell, an absolute nonsense word that a friend came up with way back in high school. Nobody really calls me it in real life, or at least not before this, but it's always been like my Diablo character, my Xbox character, my online persona. So when it came time to actually make a channel, it was an obvious choice. I didn't want to go anything super like Mongooli Strike Force or something like that, like something that tied to this one game. I wanted to make something that I could pivot if I had to. I've always loved movies and pop culture, so I was figuring the Mongooli show works. It's neutral. It can be pretty much anything I need it to be. If I decide to move on from Marvel Strike Force and something else, I don't have to worry about rebranding or anything like that. So that's kind of where that comes from. As far as me personally goes, I am 40, soon to be a 42-year-old father of 3. Got living in Southern Ontario, up in Canada, working 17 years in a maximum security correctional facility. Recently transitioned from correctional officer to just records clerk, just a little bit less stressful, a little cleaner hours. Home every evening, well, almost every evening, home every weekend, just doing what's right for the family. Bit of a pay cut, unfortunately, but home more often. So yeah, and I've been playing video games for as long as I can remember. I'm going to say I grew up in a foster home, but when I say that, what I mean is my biological parents were foster parents. So we always had lots of stuff in the house, even though I was way too young for it because they had older siblings, I guess is what you would say. So we had like an Intellivision, Atari, stuff like that before I even could play them. Graduated to Nintendo, Super Nintendo, and I've just always kept up with the newest things. And I guess now the newest thing is a cell phone. So that's where we're at.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Oh, thanks for sharing that stuff, man. Thanks for sharing that stuff. That's great.
You're gonna have a harder time keeping me shut than prying me open.
Hey man, that is okay. That is okay. No, man, side point. Um, I was listening to a guy the other day that just kind of speaks about finances and whatnot, and he was talking about being rich. And he was like, "Well, what do you mean by that? Like, do you want to just have a yacht and pour champagne in the ocean, or are you trying to put yourself in a position where you can spend more time at home?"
Yeah.
And I think that resonated with a lot of people, man. Like it's important to be present, especially as a father. It's important to be present. And I would take that, right? I would take more time at home instead of a
Yeah.
fancy lifestyle or anything like that any day.
Un
I respect that.
Unfortunately, we seem to be in a part of society, this is going down a weird tunnel that I didn't think we'd be talking about, where, it seems like younger generations, like, we're a little bit older, we're a little more established, but for younger generations, like, you almost have to spend all that time away from the family. You're not chasing yachts, you're literally just chasing a roof over your head. And so something needs to change there because, like, I don't want to speak for you, but like for me, I'm in a position now where I can afford to take a little bit of a pay cut and still keep a roof over my head. I'm not going on fancy yachts or boats or anything like that anytime soon, but that's not really what's important. But like, I have enough that I can provide for my family, got a little bit left over at the end of the month, and that's all I really need or looking for. So
Oh, beautiful. I hear you, man. I got a grown son. He's living with us at the moment. Grown man. He's working. It's not like he ain't working.
yeah,
He's getting it. But
it's a different world out there.
yeah, for sure. For sure. So as you hear, kind of talked a little bit about it, how it's going down, but kind of help us understand, man, what's it like to be an envoy?
um so it's interesting. Being an envoy was something that I assumed that they would. I kind of hoped that I would hit a point where they would reach out and tap me on the shoulder and be like, "Hey, we're interested. Do you want to come join the program?" But talking to more and more envoys, they're like, "No, no, you got to reach out to them and kind of apply." And I was like, "All right, fair enough." So I did that, reached out, and they happily accepted me in, which is really nice. So I've been an envoy now, since January, maybe. I should have written it down. I have no idea what my actual entry date is, but somewhere around there. So this year. So I've been making content for about a year and a half now, just been an envoy for the last couple of months. It's interesting. I was going to say it's cool to see how the sausage is made. We don't see how the sausage is made. That's a lie. We just get to see the sausage a little bit sooner than you guys do. You know what I mean? Like, we get to see a little bit behind the curtain, but not a lot. And while it's cool and I like it, and I don't know that I necessarily want to like leave the program or get out of it or anything like that, there are some serious frustrations where non-envoys will have data mines and stuff like that, like leaked information, like the day. But like, okay, so for instance, everybody knew Old Man Logan was coming out, right? Like that was kind of like the worst kept secret in Marvel Strike Force. I didn't see anybody talking about Dakin until the day before the embargo lifted. And I was like, this is awesome. We're going to have like a new character. Nobody's going to see it coming. Data mines, Dakin's coming out. It's like, all right. So like things like that can be frustrating. We still knew about the kits a couple of days ahead. We can still make our videos a couple of days ahead. So like that's handy. That's very nice. But it can be frustrating when you know something that you're not allowed to talk about, but other people are talking about it openly because either it feels like they're scooping a story that you wanted to have, or they're saying something that's inaccurate. But how can you possibly correct them without showing your hand? You know what I mean? And it's just like, oh, I'd really like to like that's not what I have heard. That's not what I know. But also I can't tell you what I know because then I'm confirming the story. So it can be really interesting. There's a really good group of guys in group of people, sorry, in the Envoy program. I've made friends with a couple of them. I've got like a side chat with a couple of them that's really, really fun. And it's nice to have like that little place that we can talk about what we know candidly and just like how does this work? How do you think this is going to work? So that's really nice. But it's tougher to stream live on Twitch, let's say, when somebody will ask you a question and you'll be like, I kind of have to poker face that and just pretend that I didn't see the comment or just ignore it. You know what I mean? Like there's nuances to it that make it a little bit tougher. But overall, positive experience. There's a couple of negatives to it, but overall, I'm really enjoying it. We don't There are some things we know about well in advance. Obviously I wasn't in the program back when the summit happened back in, I think it was October or something like that. It sounds like there's things they knew about back then that are still coming out or still yet to come out. So obviously the envoys who are privileged to that have way more knowledge than even I do as an envoy currently, I think. But there's also times where we get a blog like an hour before the public does. And it's just like, oh, okay. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm at work right now. I have no idea what I'm supposed to do with this information, but sure. Okay. So, like, for maybe somebody who works from home or does this for a living, I don't know if anybody actually can afford to make a complete living off of this game. That's really handy. They still have that hour to prep a video. But for me, that doesn't help me whatsoever. It's good. It's cool to know an hour early, I guess. But there's so many times where that happens. Like, I can't do anything with this. I work an hour away from my home. So even if I left work right now, I still would get home by the time the blog came out and everybody has access to it anyways. So it's like, okay.
Interesting, man. Interesting perspective.
I have no idea if that answered your question at all, but
it's just like understanding, right? Like that's I think that's the thing, right? Anything in life, you hear a term, you hear a phrase, and like what does that mean? And now you're giving us some perspective on it. In fact, we got a couple of points here. I don't know if you can or want to speak to any of these things. Double O Player's got some perspective. So he's asking, is the game more based on the MCU and not on the comics? You are a comic fan, correct?
I am yeah, you can see, I don't know how well you can see, like this top row is all just trade paperbacks. Been collecting for a while. Is the game more MCU? I would say it's more comic based than MCU based, but to some extent they do attempt to have character releases or reworked characters based around when MCU products are coming out, because obviously if the new Deadpool movie is coming out, and it's no surprise or coincidence that Deadpool is getting a rework in the game roughly around the same time. Now it's really hard because it takes a long time to make characters like this and balance it for a game, and obviously it takes a long time for movies and schedules fluctuate, so it's never a one for one. Like, you can't be like, oh, this is coming out on March 1st and the movie's coming out on March 1st. Like, that's really tough to do. But if they both come out in like a 3-week period, then if somebody goes to see the movie, sees the game on their phone, they want to play with Deadpool because they just watched the Deadpool movie and Deadpool's right there in the game. Does that make sense? Where is Blade? That is a wonderful question that I don't have an answer for you. That's one of those characters that I'm shocked is not in the game. We've got like 19 Peter Parkers and some good characters that we don't have a single iteration of yet, which is weird, but I don't have any say in that. So it is what it is.
Double Player, no, I don't like vampires, man. But I know Blade's your guy. Blade's your guy.
He's only half vampire. You only have to dislike half of him.
He's only half vampire. Hey, totally off the subject. I don't know if I didn't follow the lead up 100%. This is just MCU stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Wesley Snipes might be coming back in some capacity for Blade. Like, I don't know if they're going to be flashing forward and flashing back, or.
So I try and keep up with movie news as best I can. It's, again, I said movies are a big passion of mine. It was Mahershala Ali is supposed to be Blade currently. I haven't heard anything about Wesley Snipes coming back, but with the Deadpool movie, they're going to go to different universes and stuff like that, and they're bringing back a lot of old characters from the Fox universe. I wouldn't be shocked if we see a Wesley Snipes cameo in Deadpool, but I don't think we're getting another Wesley Snipes Blade movie. I could be wrong. I actually wouldn't mind being wrong. I love Mahershala Ali, though, so I'm very excited for that if it ever happens. It's getting pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. But I also liked the first two Wesley Snipes Blade movies. So if they want to go that route, I'm in.
I think that what you're saying makes sense. That tracks. I don't, like you said, I know that he's not cast as the original, as the current version of Blade, but I was seeing some chatter that, you know how it is. They've seen him on set. They've seen him on set as Blade. So
I try and stay up with the movie news, and at the same time, I'm purposefully staying away from Deadpool news. I saw the first trailer. I was like, "Yep, it looks amazing. I'm in." I know there's a second trailer that's out, and I'm staying away from it as much as I'm possible. And that means I'm not listening to certain podcasts that I normally listen to religiously, because it's just like, I don't want to know like that'll ruin a bunch of jokes. Like if you know stuff is coming from the trailers, like I want to go into the theater and just laugh and have a good time. I don't want to go into the theater and be like, oh yeah, this part. Oh yeah, this part. Oh yeah, this part. So I'm trying to stay away from it all, but like there's certain, like it's hard to, right? Like it's in everybody's feed on Facebook. It's what everybody's talking about. It's tough.
He loves his blade, man.
Apparently.
He loves it. I get it. I get it, man. If you got a favorite character, you got a favorite character.
For sure.
So he has another perspective question. Again, we can always pass. You can always say no comment. You can always pass. But I just seems insightful. Like, so because of your background,
Huh.
that change how you approach things as a correctional officer?
It's tough. I don't mind answering the question. I don't know that I've got a great answer for the question. Everybody has a different way of doing their job. Everybody has a different way of I lost English for a second there. Approaching. Everybody has a different way of approaching life, right? And different situations. So I am much more of a honey than vinegar person, if that makes any sense to you. So if I'm going to go into a range, I'm surrounded by, generally speaking, 30 people. Every day that I go home is because they let me. Let's be perfectly honest. That is what it is. It's a maximum security jail. That means we get, it's a detention center. Now, what that means is a lot of these people are waiting for their time in court. They're not like sentenced to 20 years or life or whatnot like that, but they're waiting to go to court. They could be waiting to go to court because they got a little too tipsy at the office Christmas party, or they could be waiting to go to the trial because they murdered 14 people. I don't know what I'm walking into, and I purposely wouldn't look at their charges because it's a whole lot easier for me to treat you like a person if I don't know what you did. For instance, we also have a lot of rapists, pedophiles, things like that. If my job is not to punish you, my job is to keep you safe and keep the public safe. So if I'm not there to punish you, it's easier for me to do my job if I don't know what you did, because then I can just treat you like a person instead of treating you like the crime that you did. Does that make any sense whatsoever? Like that was my personal philosophy. That was not like taught to me by anybody. That's just the way that I went about it. So when I go into a range, like I've got my correctional officer voice. You can't tell right now. I'm 6'6". I'm like 300 plus pounds. Like I'm a big guy. I'm sure that helped me out throughout my career, but I'm also relatively friendly. And if I can make you laugh as opposed to try and intimidate you, I'm going to try and go that route. Doesn't always work. There are people who just want to see the world burn, but that was always my way going into a situation. And then you have to sort of assess and keep going as you are dealing with a person. Like what kind of a day are they having? How are they perceiving what's going on right now? Like, doesn't matter how nice you are to some people, they're going to throw it in your face no matter what. That happens. But I never tried to enter a situation aggressively. I never tried to like, okay, I'm gonna, like, this guy's acting aggressive, I'm gonna out aggressive him. That never works. It doesn't matter how big you are, you're outnumbered 100% of the time. It's just, I don't know. It's just my take on life, I guess. Did it always work? No. Did I try? Yeah.
No, man. I
feel like I keep
brother.
rambling answers. I have no idea if I'm actually answering the question or not.
You're just giving insight, man, perspective.
Yeah.
Like I'd love to talk to you more about this at another time. Like, because I work in emergency service, right? So I can't speak to your experience, but I can speak to like we had a guy. This is one that just sticks with me. Well, I'll tone it back. I have another one. I'll probably share with you more in private. But we had a guy. Yeah. He kidnapped. It was his kid.
Yeah.
High speed chase, wrecked his car. Miraculously, the kid is okay, but like he was busted up. So it's my job to get him out of the vehicle and to give him appropriate medical attention. And like you said, because you understand the context of what the person did,
yeah.
Now I have to override, because I'm a father, right? I'm a father, I'm a parent. So now I have to override my parental instincts to be angry at this person and treat them I need to treat them the way they deserve to be treated. They're my patient right now, and I'm trying to make sure that they don't pass away because they made a stupid choice.
No, I apologize. Are you a paramedic? Is that what you're saying?
I'm a firefighter and I'm an EMT.
Okay.
I do not have a paramedic license.
Okay.
I just have a basic EMT license, but
so do you have the same do no harm oath? Okay, cool.
100%.
So
100%.
ironically, going back a second, I was saying like I don't want to know people's crimes. Well, for the last year I've been in records. I don't have a choice. Like I have to be putting their remands into our system and whatnot. So now I'm going through all these people who are like I recognize their names and faces and be like looking at their charges like, oh, okay, fair enough. Anyway, sorry, just an aside.
No, it does, right? It changes. It does change what's going on, and it's unfortunate. Maybe we can spin that back in real quick because I know that my experience kind of, I don't want to say shapes, but it does a little bit shapes my my worldview on things, especially when it comes to Marvel Strike Force.
Yeah.
So you have something that happens in the community and people get upset. We didn't talk about any of this, so I'm trying to form this into a.
I was gonna say you're going somewhere. I like that you're bringing back to Marvel Strike Force. I'm just gonna let you.
Oh, people
you
get
got the
upset.
leash. Where are we going, bud?
Well, maybe we could talk about the negative for a little bit. The old man
Sure.
Logan. So when things like that happen, like people get upset,
Yep.
and so
It
there's
seems
a
to
part
be
of
the resting state of this community is just see something new, get mad.
yeah, and that's unfortunate because I think this is a great product, man. I think it's a great product, but does
I
it
think it's got its moments for sure.
temper? Does that temper your response at all? Like
I get
with your
swept up
real world, with your
sometimes.
real life experience? You know what I'm saying?
I think I do. Like perspective, right? Like when you've dealt with literal life and death, you can just kind of step back and be like, "This is a video game, guys." So here's the two sides of the coin. It takes a lot to get me upset. Once I get upset, I generally stay upset for a while, unfortunately, but that is a very slow build. This video game doesn't do it. Like this is relaxation for me. Like if I wasn't having fun with this, if I was getting mad at this, I'd just stop playing. Flip side of that, as a content creator, people like emotion. People want to see you react to something strongly. And unfortunately, I don't know what your experience has been with this. We haven't talked about this in the past. I can tell you right now, when I make a negative thumbnail and the title of my video is like, this is awful, guaranteed more views than if I make a thumbnail be like, what a great day to play Marvel Strike Force. Like every single time. Just YouTube is so accustomed to like, oh, Ron Watson does know me well. Fair enough. Fair enough. Those are two alliance mates of mine that are constantly razzing me. Totally derailed my train of thought as they usually do, though. What was I saying? Oh, so sorry. So I know that negativity sells on Facebook. I hate that negativity sells on Facebook, but I know that it does. So you will sometimes see me more animated about this game than I actually am. Because I don't want to do this as a business. Like this isn't necessarily my end goal. It's more of a hobby for me than anything. But at the same time, we just talked about like I took a bit of a pay cut to do the records thing. If this can bring in a little bit more money into the house, why would I say no to that? So I'm willing to play the game to an extent, but I find that I'm generally a positive person, and so I don't want to betray who I am to get views. So that's the way that I'm usually going to go. Now I do have something, if I can self-promote for half a second. The weekly blog comes out and I usually do a video on that. I'm trying to make that a little bit more interesting than just me reading the blog. So every week I'm trying to get like a different content creator on, and I'd love to do a debate back and forth. One person for that has to be the negative person. One person has to be the positive person. And if I want to go negative on that, I'm going to, again, try and be honest with my feelings, but just like amp them up a little bit. And the last time I did that, people were like, oh, you're just complaining, going to complain, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, that's the point of the show. Like I'm trying to give you guys a voice by being the negative side of this, but I am generally fairly positive on a lot of these things. So we might have to try and rework that because I'm not entirely sure it's coming off genuine. And I want to be more, I would rather be genuine than popular to some extent. I don't know. Anyways,
No, what
we
you're
got way
saying
off
is
topic of your negativity towards the Old Man Logan event. Do you want to talk about the event itself?
no, man, we're doing fine. Like I said,
Okay.
this is as long as we're like that's the thing. We're just having a conversation, brother. That's the whole point.
Fair enough.
Of the,
Fair enough.
Of the thing, we're just having a conversation, and we want the community to try to weigh in to just keep the talk going. But no, I hear you, because like I don't know how to say it myself, but like I think the negativity, not this is not you. This is just the general
Yeah.
mentation is way over the top. And I know that the mind can also be triggered by other emotions, can also be triggered by curiosity and things like that, that also will get clicks. But we have some guys that are, and they got to be who they are, but they're like, and I'm not asking you to comment on it, but just like they're super negative. And I think that like, I'm a dude, I never played the game before. Like you said, Deadpool, and I saw the movie, I opened my phone. Oh man, here's this game, Deadpool. I'm playing a little bit. Well, let me find some more about it. I click on YouTube, and here's a cat screaming, it's negative. I go on Reddit, it's negative. I go on Facebook, it's negative. I'm like, well, man, maybe this game's trash. Maybe I'll go play something else.
So
And
without
then that
naming
person's
names,
gone.
I have to assume you were talking of one of three people, or at least three people come to mind when you mentioned that. Two of those three people, again, you're not on Twitch all that often. It's really fascinating to go on Twitch. You don't even have to comment. I don't mean like live, like literally just watch other people's feeds and go through everybody you can find's comments, and you will see the exact same people in everybody. Like the same community travels around to different content creators constantly. You will see the same
Okay.
people. You'll see a lot of the same jokes and stuff like that. And that's one of the things I love about this community. Like I've been in other Twitch, other online communities, and that close knit tightness is not there whatsoever. But with most people on Twitch, you will see the same people showing up again and again and again in different comment sections, except for those two. Two of those three people have like carved out such a niche for themselves. I never see people in their audience anywhere else, and I never see people in other audiences in their audiences. It is just like they have just curated this little like ball of hatred, and that's what their audience wants to see. And they're like, that's all I need, that's all I ever want. And they just, I don't know, it's weird, but like, you know what? If it works for you, it works for you. Go for it. I don't have the time. You know what I mean? Like 17 years in a maximum security jail. Like I've had my share of negativity in this world. I don't need to go to YouTube to find more of it, unless there's a legitimate problem. But you know, I'm only going to get 3 stars instead of 4 stars on a character is not a big enough problem for me to go and listen to somebody complain about it for 10 hours and a half.
I feel that. And that's interesting. I need to pay more attention to the Twitch side. I did a little bit of it, but I need to peek in there more.
Twitch is fun, man. I love YouTube because the videos last a little bit longer, and it's easier in the sense that you can edit stuff. So if you mess something up, you can just go back and be like, nope, just let's cut that and do take number 2. Like that's really, that safety net is really nice. But once I started doing Twitch, it was like, oh, it's fun having a live audience. Like you're doing it right now. You got a live audience that you can communicate with, and like having that can really shape the conversation and just kind of keep you going, right? Like it's so much fun. Like there's nothing like it. It's addicting.
That's awesome, man. I'm glad you're able to find that joy in that. Find that
Yeah.
joy in that. Man. Well, then as far as I'm sure today is going to be worse. The anger came out last night for sure. But as far as like the Old Man Logan event itself, like overall, do you think it's good? Like the character looks super dope, man. Like he looks like he's legit. He's legit. What's your thoughts like overall?
Yep, working on it.
No, take a minute, take time, process.
Do I think it's a good event? No, I think it's a bit of a step backwards. That said, I don't think it's as the sky is falling as a lot of people are saying that it is. I think that the legendary system in this game, I don't know, how long have you been playing this game, if you don't mind me asking?
I've been playing since I was supposed to ask you that. I've been playing since the beginning, pretty
Fair
much,
enough. Okay.
like day one.
Okay. I want to say I'm about 3 years in, if I'm remembering properly. So I remember, and I was like, I want to say a lazy player to start, like very casual. I was a casual player to start for sure. I feel like there's a pendulum, and right now the pendulum is starting to swing back a little bit, because when I started, legendaries were really, really tough to get. I can remember being not end game by any stretch, but pretty high level, and the Omega Red event came out, and that was probably that's the first one that I can remember, the first legendary character, maybe the first legendary character I cared about. But the first legendary character event that came out that was new and I was high enough to do something in it. And I don't think I unlocked him the first time around, and I did get him the second time around, if memory serves. And I feel like that was relatively normal at the time. Then that was the last legendary of that type. Then we started getting the Horsemen and the Scourges. Now we got the Trials with Nova and Green Goblin and Black Cat. And the pendulum swung very much the opposite way, where now it was really easy to get the characters at 3, 4, 5, 6 stars even on the first pass. And then you're pretty much guaranteed to get them on the second pass. Which is great for the players, but I also understand that this is a business, and that's probably not great for Scopely's perspective. If you can get the highly sought after character at 7 stars in one go, like, okay. How do they make a profit off that? And I'm not saying like we should all be super concerned with how Scopely makes a profit, but if we want this game to continue, it can't be free for everybody. Like, there has to be some incentive for people to spend money on it. So do I think this is a good event? No, I think it's a step back from what we had. Do I think it's the worst thing that ever happened? No, I think the pendulum is just swinging back a little bit. Hopefully it doesn't go all the way back. But if it lands somewhere in the middle where, like, as an engaged player, I can earn a 4 or a 5-star Old Man Logan, that seems okay to me. I that's kind of in line with where I was anyways. Like, I don't think I got a 7. I did not get a 6 or 7-star Nova the first time around. I probably got 4 or 5 stars and was pretty happy with that at the time. So why would I not be happy doing the same thing with Old Man Logan now? I don't know.
I agree. I mean, people don't like when I hear that part, but
the thing I don't like, and this is weird because I was actually hoping that we would get tokens in the game, but not in this way. I think the token system is a terrible idea. Well, great idea for Scopely, really bad for the players. Because what that means is it's all or nothing. So if you don't get the 4-star unlock, it's not like you'll get, oh man, I got like, what's a 4-star? 180. So it's not like, oh, I got 150 shards. The next time this comes around, I will definitely get that unlock. Now that it's a token system, you're going to get a 4-star token or nothing. Like, you'll get literally no shards towards this character. You'll get the 4-star token, unlock this character at 4 stars. But that won't help you get, like, if you get that again the next time this goes around, that won't help you get a 5-star character at all, is my understanding of how this event is going to work. There's going to be a 4-star token, a 5-star token, a 6-star token, and a 7-star token. And so you can get the 4-star token 4, 5, 6, 7 times. But if you never make that investment to get enough points to get to the 5-star token, you will never progress with Old Man Logan. I think that's going to be a bit of an issue, because now they're basically saying, like, we don't know how high of a character you're going to need to get a 7-star, but you're not going to be able to build over time and get that. You're going to have to build, you're not going to be able to build up shards over time in order to get that. You are going to have to build your characters in order to get that. So if you, like, 6 months, a year from now, let's say the Out of Time team has fallen off entirely, you still have to build that team up to potentially gear tier 19, level 100, 7 stars if you want the 7th star on Logan. That's kind of terrible. Like, that's kind of a step backwards as far as player agency goes, as far, like, that's kind of going back towards like Apocalypse territory. Like, everybody's going to have the exact same looking Out of Time and Cabal. They're all going to be the same stars, they're going to be the same character level, because, like, you have to build them up if you want Old Man Logan. And if you've looked at Old Man Logan's kit, he's insane. You want Old Man Logan. He's going to be bananas good in this game. I don't know. I understand from Scopely's perspective why they're doing what they're doing. I think community manager Archangel has a real uphill battle on his hands trying to get the community excited about it. Like, he was in Mobile Gamer was streaming live yesterday, and community manager Archangel was in the chat, not live, but like just in the chat box, trying to sell this event and trying to get people to put their pitchforks down. It's like, I don't envy you at all, sir. Good luck.
I feel bad for that brother, man. I really do. Like, he's trying to do his job, you know? Like,
yeah.
But yeah, I think so. I agree, and again, people aren't going to like it, but I do agree that the legendary system kind of had to change, and they did a good. Like, I think one of the things they did very well with the Horsemen, which we discovered, is the difference between stars like mattered, right? A 4-star and a 5-star, there was a definite increase in power with that character. So if everybody, I think that carries over to some of what they're doing now. So hey, it's fine if everybody gets a 4-star Old Man Logan, because the 5-star will be stronger than this, significantly stronger. And as you go your way up the chain, as you add red stars, and I think that part of the balancing act is great.
Do you
And
spend
I
it
don't.
all?
Hmm?
Do you spend it all?
I've gotten to a point where I spend like I buy a battle pass a month.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yep, 100%.
So if I
I do a
feel it.
little bit more than that, but pretty much just battle passes at this point. I don't get every single one, but I get maybe 2, maybe 3 of them. Rarely do I get all 4. So I didn't get the leader one that's out right now, but I did get the Iron Patriot one. So I think I've got my entire Cabal team at 4 stars, but I don't think I'm going to get them to 5 stars unless this next event is really, really good. The Claw or whatever that one's called. So I don't know. Sorry, I just wanted to see like roughly where you thought you were going to be getting. Like I'm very confident I'm going to get a 4-star Old Man Logan pretty easily. Like I've got a fairly decent roster at this point. I don't know that I'll have the 5 stars in order to get the 5-star roster. I don't know if play is messing with you or not. There only are 3 Cabal team members.
Yes, this is true. There's only
if
3,
you've got
brother.
3, you've got
They're
them all,
good.
buddy.
They are
now
good.
they did add Loki and Emma to that team, which I understand why they felt the need to force 2 characters upon us, so it couldn't just be Cabal and anybody else, because then you could just carry the Cabal team. What do you think about Loki and Emma? How does that sit with you?
I think it's one of those things that there's like no in the middle. That's there. I think they picked the characters because things had changed, right? So things had changed, and they're like, man, well, we gotta do this. People are gonna be mad. I think they know that. And things had changed. So you have a decision. Do you pick something that's at least perceived that's easy? I think that was the choice. Lord picked something easy. It's kind of thematic. They were kind of on the Cabal in the comics. You should have those characters, so it makes it easy. But again, the other end of the coin is like you're saying, the agency isn't there, and people, the Cabal is made to be a theory crafting team. And so then you don't have that. Either way, people are going to be mad.
Yeah.
But I think they picked it because it was easy and it's something that people had and wouldn't necessarily have to build.
That's fair. I'm torn because yes, both characters have been out for a very long time, so everybody should have them at 7 stars. So the star requirement isn't an issue with them, which is nice. Most people probably have Loki fairly well built because of the Bifrost team, so that's nice. I don't know about you. My Emma's very low. Like you don't need a big Emma in order to get the speed boosts or speed bonuses that she provides. So my Emma's only like, I don't know, like 60,000 or something like that, because that's all I needed her to do what she needs to do. Like she's so kit based as opposed to stats based that you don't need to be building her up all that high. So I will have to actually spend some resources building her up quite a bit. Potentially. Now, I'm going to wait until the event goes live because you only actually require Emma for 1 node. So if she dies and you can still beat that node with the rest of the Cabal and Loki, you can progress just fine. And then you can you can either use your out of time on the 10th node or a combination of Cabal and that. The only issue with that is if you absolutely need to sacrifice a team on that 10th node, then you would need her to stay alive. But as long as you don't need to sacrifice a team, you'll have 9 members to make a team of 5. You should be fine without her. So that's the one side. Like as long as you don't need to sacrifice, she could die on turn 1. If you can still get through that Cabal node, you're fine. So I'm going to wait until then before I start building her up. But I'm going to have resources ready to build her up in case I get stonewalled.
Fair take. Fair take. On my main account, mine's gear tier 16. I don't know what that is, but I can't remember when last time she was like arena meta, so I probably built her up some for messing around with some arena composition. But an interesting point, side point, that I just thought about today, like on my new account, which I guess is, I know it's fairly new, but she has 0 investment. And so for somebody, I wonder where the break point is. Because for somebody who came into the game when she wasn't being used at all,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? They probably, I don't know how long that's been. Has that been a year? Like they probably haven't invested in her at all. So I just wonder what that'll look like.
I mean, she hasn't been. Okay, so I've got her at level 65, gear tier 12, 86,000. So a little higher than I thought, but still a ways to go to get her high. Great. Anyways, there hasn't been one specific team that she's been meta on for a very long time, but she's always been kind of a plug and play option. But again, she doesn't need to be very high for that. So I don't know where newer players are investing into her or whatnot. I know, like, I have a baby account that I very rarely play. Like, I'm amazed I'm still even in my alliance at this point. I haven't touched her and I don't plan on touching her, or I didn't until this event, I guess, is more accurate. It's nice to have her as a little bit of a bonus, but there's so many more impactful characters that I have to worry about at the moment with that account that I just don't have the resources to. Well, I mean, I do have the resources. I just don't care enough to build her up. So, but I also got lucky with that account. I started it at Thanksgiving because they were giving out Kangs, and I'm like, well, if I'm going to make a baby account, this is the right time to do it. So I've got a pretty decent sized Kang on this baby account, and I won the actual jackpot with the mega orb with that account. So I've got like 150 million gold in that account. I'm like, why couldn't this be my main account where I've got like 1 million gold? Nobody feels my pain on that one though. They're all like, ooh, first world problems. I'm like, I know, I get it. Still wish it was on the other account though.
Oh man, it's good. The new player stuff's fun. The new player stuff's fun. But we could switch gears unless you want to keep going.
Right, whatever you got, man. It's your show. I can ramble on about almost anything, so you just point me in a direction and let me go.
Well, let's talk about the spotlight raids then. Let's talk about those for a little bit.
Ooh, okay.
Like when the info came out, man, I actually felt, after I meditated on it, I thought it might be a good thing. But I know there's some different opinions, there's some different viewpoints. What's your overall thought on the, I know we don't know much, but on a little bit that we know so far?
Give me like half a second. Live on. Sorry. My initial take was, like I said before, like I don't get like super bent out of shape on things. That said, I don't love being told what to do, like, which sounds stupid. So when they come out and they're saying like, okay, here's a team you know nothing about. It is 100% necessary, and you have no choice in the matter. Now, when I say you have no choice in the matter, I'm in a high enough alliance at this point where if I say, hey, guys, I am not building this raid team, they're going to say, good luck, goodbye, moving on to a different team. So I don't have a choice. If I want to stay with my friends, and I've got some friends in this alliance, and I want to stay at this competitive level, I have to build this team now. We know literal nothing about the Alpha Flight team other than Sasquatch is on it, Guardian is on it, and Vindicator is not on it. That's it. We don't know who the other 3 characters are. We can assume there's going to be reworks because that's the way they're going right now. Pretty decent assumption one of those reworks is Wolverine, but for the life of me, I don't know who the other rework would be. So we don't know the team composition. We don't know what aspect of the game they're going to be useful in. We don't know anything when they're coming out, and you're already telling me this team is absolutely required for a raid that you have no choice in building towards. And I say no choice because of what I just mentioned. Obviously, I could just put the game down and walk away. Like, it's not life or death, but that doesn't feel so good to me. That doesn't sit properly with me. On top of that, you are giving me 2 lanes. You're giving me 2 different teams per lane, and there's no overlap whatsoever. Now, some people will argue like, oh, well, you know, the way things are going right now, like if you're an Incursion, there's only one X-Men team you can use, right? Like you're not going to use Astonishing X-Men in Incursion 2.3. It won't do anything. You're right. But if I die on a node that is almost completed, I have the option to bring in Apocalypse and finish that node off, or fully heal my team and spend 250 power cores. I don't have that option if I literally have to use 5 members of the same team. If one of the team members isn't out yet for whatever reason, or I can't seem to find the unique that is required to level that character up, I have no options for running 4 of the team and subbing somebody in that 5th place. That I don't like. The fact that we're getting new content is great. The fact they're getting rid of the Greek raids is great. The fact that we're getting Crimson gear is great. All of that is good stuff. I just wish they'd give me even one extra team on each of those nodes. Would give me options for like, okay, one character died. We don't know if we can heal or not. Like that's another thing is they don't tend to give us enough information in these blog posts. If you can heal, okay, so my teammate died, I can just bring them back and keep going. If you can't heal, my teammate died, now I'm stuck. Like I have no options. I can't heal them. I can't bring in another teammate or another teammate from a person from another team. Like if I die on node 1, I have just let my alliance mates down. That kind of sucks. Now, you probably will be able to heal. I get that. But I don't know. It's one of those things where it's just I wish they'd given us a bit more information. Your video on it actually did a good job on turning me around on the situation. You had a lot of really good points, and I liked a lot of what you had to say. Up until the very end. Wasn't a huge fan of the crybaby moment at the end. I was like, all right, that's fair. That's fair. I probably fall into that category, but yeah, no, I you turned me around a little bit, if I'm being perfectly honest, because I was pretty like, I don't know about this, and then I don't know. I wouldn't say that I'm looking forward to it, but I'm not as like this is the worst thing ever as I might have come across before.
So the little deviation I had there, I wanted to write that down about the healing. So I was like, you know what? That is something I'd like to ask somebody about.
Yeah. I would love to have an answer for you.
If that's possible. And hey, you're not a crybaby, bro. Not a crybaby. The crybaby analogy.
I figured that was not actually aimed at me, but there was definitely a second when I was driving my car. I'm like, oh, that stings. No, he's probably not me. He probably doesn't mean me. There's definitely people crying harder than I am. So
I'm sorry. So again, it goes back to the whole. We're talking about being men and being fathers and all that. Like the crybaby analogies. When I use those, it has to do with the people that just kind of like you said, they just will stand there and yell and kick and scream like children and not do anything. You know what I mean? Like it's just all negative. And so that's who I have in mind when I talk about the.
Yeah. And it gets exhausting when that's the only content that people are making is just negativity. Like everything can't be the worst ever, or else why are you here? If like I'll admit I've made negative videos where I'm actually negative on something and things happen. There have been events where I'm upset. But if that was every video I made, would you stick around? Why? Like, what are you getting out of this? Whatever. Everybody's got their own reasons to watch certain people or to listen to certain content creators, but it doesn't jive with me.
I don't like zombies either, player, but I feel you, brother.
Will they have a zombie?
No, but like,
we need more Spider-Man in this game. That's for darn sure. So I hope so.
More Spiders.
Not nearly enough Spider-Man.
No, but like not to deviate at all, but like I think that's it's okay to have feeling, man. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with having feeling. And if something's upsetting, there's nothing wrong with that. But nobody backtracks. Nobody says after further consideration. Nobody says this is what I like. I shouldn't say nobody. That's not true. I'm exaggerating.
I literally just said you turned me around.
Your videos.
I literally just said you turned me around on the event.
Agreed. And I'm exaggerating. I need to back that down.
Good.
But what I like about, like, for example, your videos, Positive Geek, Updog, you'll give both sides, because I know we all have more than one feeling on the matter. So you'll talk about the way you feel about it. And some of it's going to be positive, some of it's good. This is what I like. This is what I didn't. That's great.
Yeah,
there's nothing wrong with that. It's in it. If we don't all agree, that's fine too.
Yep.
But getting those different points, like some of the things you were just saying about the Spotlight Radio, made me think. I'm like, man. So I wrote a couple of them down to reconsider. I don't have much of a reach, but I'll throw them.
I think we're actually sitting around the same on YouTube, to be honest. I think we're pretty neck and neck.
Oh, it's beautiful. Good company.
Yeah.
But no, I think that the concept, the Greek raids needed to change, and this is a good way to change it. Like you said, there's going to be some. I didn't think about, okay, so I don't. The uniques are, they drop when they drop. So if I don't have it, I don't really have necessarily control over that. And so if that stops me from being able to participate in the raid, then that can be an issue. So I do wonder what the different difficulties will look like if you can't heal like you could in the Greeks. That'll be an issue for sure.
Now, the flip side that I'm going to throw out there is we don't know anything about it. Always comes down to we don't know enough, which is why it's like, why do you put these blogs out when you do? And like we have told them that so many times, like, don't put this out right now. Give us more information. They're like, nope, we're dropping it. Like, okay. Do you know how upset I was that they dropped this huge bomb yesterday, 2 hours after the embargo lifted for the kits? So like a bunch of content creators put out these videos, be like, hey, this team's going to be great. And within 2 hours, they took our legs out from under us, be like, here's a blog that's going to make the entire community pissed off and nobody's going to be talking about the kits anymore. It's like, cool. Glad I made that video. Okay, so we don't know anything, but let's assume for a second that we're not going to get the spotlight raids until both teams are fully out and free to play friendly, meaning you can unlock them as a free to play player. If that's the case, you're only going to have one other person on each of your lanes. You can communicate with that person. Like Ron here, I just clued in. Sorry, Ron, who Ron is. Ron's in my alliance. So let's say me and him get paired up on one of the lanes. We're both struggling. We're both, I think he's free to play. I'm cheap to play. I don't have the resources to build up both teams all the way. Hey, Ron, do you want to build up the Alpha Flight team? I'll build up the Spider Society team, and then I'll do the first couple of nodes. You do the last couple of nodes. Then we don't have to worry about building up 10 characters. We only have to worry about building up 5 characters. That's not bad if it works out that way. Now, the problem with that would be is if Ron's like, yeah, absolutely, and then doesn't get the resources he needs to level up high enough, and then our lane's constantly not hitting the final boss node. Like then I'm not picking on Ron, but if somebody isn't pulling their weight, then that really hurts, and it's very obvious who it is that's not pulling their weight. So if you're in a highly engaged alliance, that could be a good thing. But if you're semi-casual, that could be a bad thing, where it might tear alliances apart, where like you're clearly not pulling your weight, you're clearly not pulling your weight. Like it's super obvious, and there's not a lot of ways to help them out. Whereas with not so much the Greek raid, what's the one that we're doing right now, the Alpha raid, where it's constantly like doing this. If I notice somebody's struggling, I can kind of jump lanes and go and help them a little bit. Whereas if I'm stuck in this one lane with one person, let's say Ron's doing a great job, I don't need to help Ron whatsoever, but Hefe in a different lane is always falling down. I can't get over to that lane to help him in any way, shape, or form. Now, that's not a new thing, but it's just something to think about.
No, I get that. Not so much with, like you said, the one that's going on right now. I can't remember the one that was before, but we would get confused. People would get confused. I know that you would get confused, and it's not that you couldn't clear the content, but somebody's in the wrong spot.
Yeah.
And we end up not getting 100% because somebody just went the wrong way. But on was it Gamma? Is that the one that's weird?
I have no idea. I know I'm fairly well versed in the game, but I'm such a visual person that I don't read things. I just kind of see the lane and be like, oh, this one, I know I need to do this lane if I want to complete this. I'm trying real hard to figure out like the names of uniques and stuff like that, because for the longest time I'd just be like, oh, the one that looks like a pen, or oh, the one that looks like, you know what I mean? Like I people are like, oh, it's augmented cloth. I'm like, I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, I don't know either. I don't know either.
Yeah. Like here I'm looking at Zombie Iron Man. His unique is a square. And I'm like, okay, I know I need the square. I couldn't for the life of you tell you what that's called.
It's chromium.
Fortified chromium. Yeah, you got it. There you go.
Just because it was super scarce. I think you needed it. Do you need it like for Archangel too? I think like,
yeah,
that was one of those ones like, well, we can't even get Apocalypse because we can't either power up Archangel or I power up the zombie. No, but that's the one, Ron. That's the one where I'm like, and I got an in-game account, bro. I'm on that lane that says Wakanda infestation. I mean, some days we don't even beat it. I'm with another dude. We focus all our energy into one lane, and sometimes we can't even beat it. Two grown cats, but it is what it is. So hopefully that isn't that is like a sticking point. I'm just starting to think about it more clearly now. That same thing could happen in the
It could.
spotlight.
I've decided it's too early to care. Like, this could be 6 months out, this could be a year out, things could change. Everything is subject to change. Who knows what's going to happen, right? They're going to make up their mind whenever they make up their mind. They're going to let us know. Like, they say they want our feedback. Once in a blue moon, something changes, but for the most part, Scopely's going to Scopely. Big Positive Geek, how you doing?
It's a good dude
Good
right
evening.
there on the other side of the world, man.
Yeah.
So I see we're closing in on that golden hour, but I would like to ask you perhaps one more, just related to all this, one more question.
Go for it, man. I got nowhere
I'm
to be.
always like pointing people to the player voice, because I think if somebody has something with the game, positive or negative, that they should go there and get the conversation going. I know the devs look at that. And I guess I haven't gotten things from an Envoy perspective. If you have somebody in your community, let's say they have a problem with a game mode, or they really like something that happened in the game, should they let you know about it as an Envoy? Is that an appropriate route?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think not a lot of people have, but theoretically, I see a lot of people do it to Dorky Dad more so than me. Obviously, he's got a much larger audience than I do. He's got a much wider reach. But I'll see him posting in the Envoy server like, hey, this guy's having this issue. Here's his PID number. Can you resolve it anyway? And they're like, oh, we'll look into it. What comes of that, I can't say. But that's definitely something that I could also do for people if they're like a legitimate issue, not like I don't like this, but like if something didn't work the way that it's supposed to, let me know. I can definitely let the community managers know. They can let the developers know, and then it kind of like it goes up the chain and then it come back down the chain, and we'll see if we can do anything for you. But as an Envoy, I have to assume that's part of my job, right? Is like I am the chain in between, or one of the chains in between the players, the community, and the game developers. So if you give something to me, I can give something to them, and then vice versa. Like when they have information, they can give it to me, and I can try and disseminate it throughout the audience. So if you ever have an issue, if you ever have feedback, I mean, like I said, don't say if you just don't like something, but at the same time, absolutely tell me if you don't like something, because that's definitely something I can pass along. I'd probably want to hear from more than one person. If it's something that's just like, oh, I don't like the way this works, be like, well, okay, you're one of many, but like if it's enough people coming up commenting on something, then yeah, I'll bring it forward for sure.
And probably a reason why, like you're saying, like sometimes it's hard to get that message across. You can't just say Scopely sucks. You got to say like, well, this is what
why
I
does
wanted to
Scopely
happen,
suck?
or this is what I thought was going to happen, and this is what it is. Or
It's not always required, but it's also very handy if you can bring up a problem and a solution. Whether that solution will be taken or not, that's a huge thing. Like if you are complaining, what's the saying? If you're complaining without a solution, you're just whining. That's not it, but it's something like that. I mean, hey, if you've got a solution, even if it's not someone they're going to take, at least it's something. You're thinking about how to make it better, as opposed to just, this is bad, I don't like it.
Agreed. Well, my man, I very much appreciate you doing this today. Thank you for taking the time.
It's been fun.
100%. So once again, in closing, where can people find you if they want to get your stuff?
You can find me at twitch.tv/The Mongooli Show. Go over there and hit follow so you know when we go live. That's probably the best way. I go live on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. You can also head over to YouTube, and it's YouTube. If you search up The Mongooli Show on YouTube, you'll find me, but the address is wonky. It's like youtube.com/@The Mongooli Show, I think. But you should, if you just search for YouTube, you'll find me there. Join my Discord if you want to talk to me, though. That's the easiest way. I will respond as quickly as I possibly can. I get Discord at work. I don't get YouTube at work. So if you want to reach out to me, that is the fastest way to reach out to me. Start a conversation. I don't have people blocked or anything like that. So that's how you can reach me if you want to talk to me. And if you want to watch me, go over to twitch.tv/The Mongooli Show.
Outstanding. I meant to throw it up earlier, but
It's all good.
here it is. YouTube So yeah, check that man out. He's got some good videos. I'm about halfway through this one. You mentioned it, so you piqued my curiosity. So I'm be working on that one.
It's I made the thumbnail for that one when I was angrier than when I made the video for that one. So like the thumbnail is more clickbaity than it actually is, but like I addressed it in public. Sorry guys, I got you in the door. Now you have to sit and listen to me for a while.
Yeah, man. Ron, you know he's got the videos, bro.
He knows that. He's being
But
funny.
hey, thanks very much, man. I'm gonna let you get back to it. Thanks everybody for showing up. So just keep it going. Make sure you go over to Mongooli if you haven't already. Give that guy a follow, give that dude a subscription, check him out on social media. He's a good guy. And again, when he's I just want to make it clear, like he's us kind of thing. Like he plays the game, I think, like normal people play. So watch his stuff, and it's
I'm not
good.
entirely convinced any normal people actually play this game, but sure.
Oh man, oh man,
All right.
I get it.
Thank you so
Appreciate
much
you.
for having me on.
No
You have a
problem,
great
man.
day.
Everybody.